Hi there. Welcome to day 7 of your 21 Days to Transformation. I'm Ife George, and it's good to be on this journey with you. Today, I'll be speaking about the power of decision. The power of decision. I think one of the earliest quotes that I heard about 25 years ago about decision was, "Your decision decides your destiny." Now, I don't know to what degree I understood it at the time, but as I advanced in years, I realized that life was practically cause and effect. Something happens and then something happens on the back of that, all right? But what makes it even more beautiful is the realization that you can cause the effect. That brings you to the idea that each decision that you make directs the course of your life. And every decision that you have made until today has brought you here. Every decision you have made until today has brought you here. And so just imagine if over time you had intentionally curated your decisions because you knew where you were headed. Now, I imagine people that were privileged enough to have had some sort of guidance all their life, such that from their teenage years or from their infanthood, they were already directed by someone, right? Or maybe by themselves, maybe by exposure. They already had a sense of where they were headed. And so they could decide things along their path. Now, imagine someone that was born with the ability to sing, but never knew that, never discovered it, never got into any environments where that could have been explored. They will do everything against that gift that they have inherently. Now imagine someone that has the same ability, but has been born into an environment or has been raised in an environment where that was known, and the decisions that were made for that person were deliberately curated to direct them to that destiny. Now, that's the difference between people, right? Now, everyone is born the same, but our decisions or the decisions that are made on our behalf define our destiny. But now that you know that you can envision what you want out of your life, you can visualize and make vivid pictures of what exactly you want to do, where exactly you want to go, who you want to become, the things you're supposed to be. I mean, for people that understand that there is even the possibility of knowing innately what you've been called to do, you can picture what that looks like, and that can begin to lead you to what decisions you need to make, right? Now, do not let anything hold you back. I mean, whether it be the fear of failure, of rejection, or perfectionism, or a lack of clarity, or fear of criticism, or judgment, do not let any fears hold you back. The truth, part of why people will struggle making decisions are because of these fears that hold them. You would find that a person second guesses themselves because they're not clear about what decision to make. A person is unable to make decisions because maybe they've been judged in the past. A person is unable to make decisions because maybe they've been micromanaged all their life and have been unable to make decisions at any point in time. So they do not trust themselves to make the right decision, right? It can be anything. It can be anything. The idea is you need to be able to come to that place where you understand your decisions decide your life. And if your decisions decide your life, that is about one of the most crucial things you're going to need to master doing for yourself. And so I'll say, if you've drafted a vision already, or if you've drafted visions already, you want to come to the point where you can take personal responsibility for your actions and the outcomes of those visions when you engage them. The irony is until you start making decisions, you would never master it. I mean, I struggled making decisions back in the day. It was one of the toughest things, right? I feared to be wrong. One of the things that I've worked on personally is perfectionism. I've worked on that compelling need and desire to come across as perfect, right? The need to be perfect, the desire to be perfect that affected me a lot of times making decisions. Now, I'll tell you for free, what that does at best is hold you back. I remember growing up that I had exposures to several things I could have done, things I could have explored. Was it singing? Was it playing instruments? Was it dancing? I was exposed to several things based on the environment that I grew up in, but I disallowed myself from learning most of the things I was exposed to learning because I feared being imperfect. Now, I'm learning as many things as I can, realizing that you are never perfect at the start. And so you must make a decision. Now, you must come to the point where you can make decisions. The moment you consider things that should be a part of your life, you must come to the point where you can make decisions for how to move yourself in the direction of progress as regards those things. Now, until you start making decisions, right? Until you start making decisions, you might never master it. So I'll say start small, right? If you struggle like me with inhibitions, with fears, with concerns about how people will view you if you make a mistake, I'll say start small. You need to come to that place where you accept that you can start small, right? Start small, start scared, start unsure. But what you're doing inevitably is that you're training yourself to trust yourself. You're training yourself to trust yourself. You want to come to the place where you embrace imperfection. Now, that's something I had to do. Painful as it is, but I've embraced it. I understand that the best of us will still at one point or the other supply imperfection. Right? You can groom yourself to the highest level of excellence, but the best of us at one point or the other will supply imperfection. And so every time I experience imperfection, as long as it couldn't have been in my control, I'd accept that it has happened. Right? I'd accept that it has happened. And so you want to come to that place where you can embrace imperfection, where you allow yourself the flexibility to grow in the face of imperfection. You can decide on something small daily to do, that you know that I am making this decision daily. And the goal of this is to improve my ability to trust myself to make decisions. You want to trust your spirit. You want to key into that, right? You know, people would say, trust your intuition, trust your gut, but you want to trust your spirit. You know, counsel in the heart of a man is like deep waters. He said, the man with understanding will draw it out. You want to trust yourself. You want to trust yourself to the degree that it is possible to draw out counsel from you. Now, if you find that you haven't particularly exposed yourself to anything that would cause counsel to come out of you, you can seek guidance, right? You can seek guidance, but what you want to run away from is dependence. Because what I find most times when people lean to guidance is that they begin to skew that leaning to dependence. All right. You want to trust yourself enough. You want to grow to the point where you trust yourself to make a decision. And to do that, you have to also accept risks and accept challenge, right? Because it comes with it. And so you want to come to the place where you ask yourself today, what 3 decisions must I make to move my life forward in this season? Right? You've probably written a vision, and you should have, except you're just coming to this video for the first time, in which case you probably should go back and start from the start. This is 7 of 21, right? But you want to come to the place where you ask yourself, what 3 decisions must I make today to move my life forward? All right. And the moment you figure that out, you want to stir your spirit up and come to the place where you define the goal that you are going toward. You want to weigh the options that you have. Consider the pros and the cons of the actions you want to take. Once you've laid your options out, accept them. Accept all the options with their pros and their cons. Accept the options, all right? And then make your decision. Remember that the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to learn to trust yourself. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to learn to trust yourself. So while you start small, while you seek guidance, while you engage counsel, you want to get to the point where you can trust yourself to make decisions. A lot of things will suffer in your life if you're not able to make decisions. For some people, it's tough to make a decision about who to marry. It's tough to make a decision about where to live. It's tough to make a decision about what job to do. It's tough to make a decision about what career to explore. For different people, decision making is a big deal because of fears. Now you want to deal with that. There's a process of overcoming fears called systemic desensitization. The idea is that a person exposes themselves to things that they fear. Right? Now, depending on the degree of what it is you want to overcome, it can be with the guidance of a professional, or it can be by yourself, depending on the degree of what you want to overcome. But the idea of systemic desensitization is that you can expose yourself in bits to the things that you fear, and you do it at safe levels, and then you increase the levels of commitment that you give to it. Now, the goal is that your mind and your brain begins to see and understand that there is nothing to fear. All right? Now, so you want to do that. You want to make decisions. You want to start small. You want to do that. You want to get to the point where you're able to make decisions. Start from where you are right now. List out 3 decisions you have to make this season and go ahead and make them. Now, if you would like to hold yourself accountable, put your decisions in the comment section, or just make a comment that you've made your 3 decisions. All right. I'm rooting for you. If you found this helpful for you, I want you to be your brother's keeper and share this with someone that you know or someone that you care about. Until I see you tomorrow, bye for now.